Thursday, PFT OT, still in Chicago. We'll be here tomorrow as well. Apparently, there is a joint Chris Simms Unbuttoned PFT PM coming from here tomorrow before we leave. Full Week 1 preview. They're really making us work tomorrow.
Week 1 preview. We're going to pick games against each other. I hope we can keep that kind of a running tally for the year, too, so we can have a little fun there.
Well, all my picks will be published at PFT earlier today, so you'll know what mine are in advance.
I promise you I won't look.
You don't go to the site.
Well, I don't
you
care.
act like you do.
Well, no, I go to the site all the time. Don't say that. I always have been, you jerk.
Well,
but
don't go today.
Don't
click that link.
Not that it's going to matter anyways. I mean, usually when I pick your picks, I go, oh, what an idiot this guy is. I wouldn't have done that. We
have started to really harmonize on things, though. That is concerning me.
It is,
That
right?
really is concerning me. We'll see what our picks are tomorrow on PFT PM and Chris Simms Unbuttoned. For now, though, a few things to get to wrap up Thursday and get you ready for tonight's game. We talked about the Packers-Bears pick. We both like the Bears, and based on the score we selected for the game, we both like the under of 46.
Right.
I could see. Look, I never focus when I'm picking a game on whether anyone's going to read into that for the purposes of over-under. I could see it going over.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if it goes over, especially Week 1 with so much uncertainty about the offenses.
You're exactly right. So much uncertainty about offenses, different game plans, guys not being in true game shape yet because they didn't play a lot through the preseason. Coaches doing things that the other team just was totally shocked by or unaware. Wow, Chuck Pagano's never done this before, or Matt LaFleur, I've never seen him do this in my study. So you're right. I would be very careful about betting anything in Week 1 in the NFL right now.
I just don't really. I understand that people bet the over-under. I don't get enjoyment out of that. And Big Cat is big on betting the over.
Yeah.
It's just a warped way to watch the game. Like, you're not rooting for anything other than as many points as possible. And it's just, I don't know. I don't bet anyway, so I don't have to worry about it. But I don't like to pay attention to the over-under. I just pick the score, and if it goes over, it goes over. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But for this purpose, we wanted to let you have our thoughts on it. We both think there's a chance it could go over.
Well, you picked 23-16, right?
Yes.
You're going Bears 23-16.
And that's 39, so that's just one touchdown away.
Right. I'm going 24-20, so I'm only a field goal away from changing it there. But, yeah, I think I err on the under more than anything because I think the defenses in this matchup are elite, or certainly stronger than the offensive side of the ball, and I think that's why I think I would edge on the under.
And sometimes that first game of the season, it's such an extended feeling out process that it ends up being sluggish and slow and just unsatisfying.
Yes.
So there's a chance that'll happen as well. All right, speaking generally of the whole over-under concept, something to keep in mind that I hadn't thought of until somebody mentioned it yesterday, and we'll leave names out of it for now. But for the purposes of anyone who's out there in a state where gambling is legal, I wasn't aware of the dynamic that Week 1, second half of the games, the over, because you can bet pretty much throughout the game anytime, but for the second half, whatever the over-under is in the game, the over hits far more often than the under because defensive players are tired.
Yes.
And the other dynamics of not being familiar with the offense. And maybe it's a little harder to make adjustments. You get into a better groove of making defensive adjustments later in the season. And I wasn't aware of that. But it's something to keep in mind. Again, if you're in one of the jurisdictions where that sort of thing is legal and you're inclined to bet on the second half over-under, apparently the over is a very strong trend.
I was shocked to hear that, too. It makes sense in a lot of ways. And I think it makes more sense right now with the current state of the NFL and the fact that, we're not seeing teams play in the preseason. They're not playing their starters. Yeah, there's two things, and you hit on one of them, certainly. You've actually hit on even the other one a segment ago. Defenses are not in shape. Corners get tired. Pass rush dies out. Quarterback has all day to throw and dissect the defense. So that would lead to more points. And then the other thing is, you kind of just mentioned it when we talk about the over-under. The offenses are playing it careful or close to the vest. Maybe after the first drive where they've gotten their first 10 plays in. Here's our plays to trickle them, and we look at. But after that, they do get conservative in first games because you start to worry about, they're doing this on defense. Let me just go with a play that I feel is all-purpose and simple, and our guys have a great feel to how to execute it. It's not reinventing the wheel to where, things can become kind of boring, like we saw from the Packers last year in Week 1. I know Rodgers got hurt, but they were kind of sluggish even with Rodgers in there early on in the game. Second half, this is what the Bears are doing to attack us, and all of a sudden the game just went crazy, and Rodgers started throwing lasers all over the place. But a very interesting thing that I never thought about, but I could see that being a very real dynamic.
But I could see offenses being less inclined to take risks, especially in high-profile, primetime games week 1 because it's the first week. It's the first experience with football since the Super Bowl, and we're not going to go out there and do something crazy and run the risk of being criticized more intensely than you would be if you would do something like that in the middle of the season when there isn't as much focus, because the first week back there's so much extra focus.
Yes, well, and I think you're right about that, especially early. Second half, what can lead to other teams, the second half overs? Oh, the Bears are up by 2 touchdowns to start the second half. Now we go, oh gosh, Green Bay's going to have to throw the ball and come back and do that. And all of a sudden, points start to, accumulate on the board. And now, oh gosh, now the game's a 3-point lead by the Bears. The Bears start to open it up again. So I think those are little things to look out for. Interesting. I feel like I'm going to learn a lot about betting this year because I don't bet either. I emotionally get invested in the games very easily. I don't need money on the line. But I feel like I've had a lot of people say some smart things to me lately about betting that I never thought of.
I'm the same way. I don't need it to enjoy the game. And I also get no enjoyment out of putting my hard-earned money on the line in anything.
Right.
Like, I'm very averse to buying stocks. Anything that feels like I'm putting the money that I busted my ass to make at risk, I don't like doing it.
Right.
And losing, it's like why Bill Parcells got out of coaching. Losing hurts more than winning feels good.
No doubt.
Right? And I think if I would gamble, when I'd win, I'd be like, okay. When I'd lose, it would torment me for weeks.
Yeah, I'm with you. I've bet a few times when my career got over, and I had a few friends who liked to bet. They'd always ask me, oh, what do you think about this matchup, that matchup, and everything.
And they'd bet the opposite?
And I started, well, it depends. Sometimes I got on fire. Sometimes they were like, the hell with you. I'm going the opposite.
All right, when the Falcons start their season on Sunday, they'll be in Minnesota. Julio Jones will be on the field. The question is, will he have a new contract? And look, Michael Thomas set the bar at close to $20 million per year, but not quite $20 million, just shy of 20.
Yeah. Yeah,
How much do you think Julio Jones is going to get?
I don't know here. I mean, he's obviously going to get a new contract. We're hearing about, the Falcons restructuring deals and doing things like that with Jake Matthews and trying to free up a little bit more money. I mean, okay, he's got 2 years left on his deal, right? His current deal. Are they going to, do you think they're going to one-up Michael Thomas? Do you think that's the goal?
Yes.
Is to make him the highest
absolutely.
paid, period?
He'll be the highest paid receiver. And I don't know.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's going to be a little click. I think it's going to be
You think it's going to be a significant
pushing of the bar.
So right
That's
now, Michael Thomas is at 19
I don't
points.
know. I think.
You think?
I think.
Yeah, but when you think, a lot of times. So
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, well, you're connected to the right people in these conversations. So Michael Thomas at 19.2 right now. You're saying Julio's going to go like 20.2, maybe 21, something like that.
Maybe higher.
Oh gosh, damn! You got a real good tell here.
No, I don't. I'm just saying. It's a fascinating question. It's something to keep an eye on as the weekend rolls around. We're getting closer and closer to the point where these deals are either going to get done or they're not going to get done. And the Julio Jones deal is going to get done. The question is, how much is it going to be? And I think it's going to be
years? How much of a big blow is it going to be to the salary? This is a team that's thin and not deep already. That's what I worry about.
There's a belief out there that the new Julio Jones contract is going to create cap space. I think just because we're conditioned to assume that that's no, they're not doing this to create cap space. They're doing this to placate the player. They've been creating cap space elsewhere to get this deal done. They're not trying to reduce the cap number. That's what this is about.
Right.
This is about paying Julio Jones what he deserves as the best receiver in the NFL, and I think the cap number may go up.
Yeah.
Bottom line is the average is going to go up. He's going to be the highest paid receiver in the NFL. The question is by how much. And my only point is don't be surprised if it's a significant jump.
And I'm not going to be mad about it. I mean, he's certainly in that conversation and certainly deserves to be paid like the highest guy. I mean, right now he's grossly underpaid. What is he at? About the 11th highest paid receiver in football?
$15 million a year, something like that.
Yeah, he's
right.
making 14.
And I think what really sparked it for him,
highest.
and you locked onto this when it all came up, when he got to the point where Matt Ryan was making $30 million a year and he's making 15, it's like something's wrong with his picture.
No doubt about that.
And I got to get mine.
Right.
And he's tried and he's tried and he's been patient. He hasn't held out.
Right.
He was almost going to hold out.
Year,
He was almost going to hold out his training camp last year and got a little sweetener. They moved some money around. But he's there and he's trusted that Arthur Blank, the owner of the team, is going to make good on the promise to get him the contract, and he's probably going to get it in the next day or so.
Yeah.
All right, how about this for Ryan Fitzpatrick? When he starts for the Dolphins this weekend, he will be the first quarterback to start for 8 different teams.
It's amazing.
8 different teams.
Yeah.
His first start, the other players with him in the huddle were Marshall Faulk, Torrey Holt, Isaac Bruce, and he was sacked by Sean Taylor during his first NFL start.
That's insane. That really is. I mean, yes, it's a credit to him for the fact that he's hung around the NFL this long and survived. You know, it shows you, again, it's kind of like that fine line. He's a great backup, but a really low-end starter in the NFL. And teams in transition, like guys like Ryan Fitzpatrick, oh, he's smart. He's got to play a lot, so we can trust him in certain situations in that aspect. He's also gotten lucky in a number of scenarios where, you know, you look at it and go, oh, he's clearly going to be the backup, and then somebody gets hurt, or Geno Smith gets punched in the face by a teammate, and all of a sudden he's a starter. So, you know, I say it all the time. He's Irish, Ryan Fitzpatrick. Of course, he's got a shamrock up his butt when it comes to some of that stuff. But either way, you know, he's done some good things in the league, and you know, he's not the guy you want to run into the future with, but he's a guy to kind of put a Band-Aid on the situation for the short time being.
He's just got that strange dynamic where every time we think he's good, he goes the other way, and when we assume he's bad, he goes the other way.
Yeah.
And eventually, I think Josh Rosen's going to be playing, because even if he starts off strong and surprises the Ravens the same way that the Buccaneers surprised the Saints Week 1 last year, it's going to eventually peter out. And one of the reasons that I love Ryan Fitzpatrick, he found out on September 1, 2007, that he was being traded by the Rams to the Bengals, not from anyone with the Rams or anyone with the Bengals. He found out about it by logging on to ProFootballTalk.com.
Is that right?
That's how he found out he'd been traded.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So wild stuff, and I can't believe it's been that long ago, but he's been around a long time, and he is still going strong. All right, next up on the docket for today, the Colts confirmed to the Indianapolis Star and both to Forbes on Wednesday that there was an offer made to purchase the team of $3.2 billion, and Jim Irsay rejected it. Now, they haven't identified whoever made the offer. And I've got two theories here.
Okay, I'd like to hear that.
Okay, and I want you to know which way you lean.
Okay.
First theory is, because they say the team isn't for sale. That's
Right.
part of this.
Right.
Rejected $3.2 billion offer, the team isn't for sale. First theory, the team is for sale, and the floor is $3.2 billion.
Gotcha.
Okay?
Right.
Second theory, and this is kind of like petty, take out a Sharpie theory, I got to be careful, but that Forbes came out yesterday with its valuation of the franchises at $2.6 billion.
Yeah, right.
Right? And this team's worth more than $2.6 billion.
Right.
Somebody offered me $3.2 billion, and I said no, even if that offer was never made.
Yes.
I could see Jim Irsay doing that because he's pissed off that he's middle of the pack, lower middle of the pack, $2.6 billion. Here are the Cowboys at $5.5 billion. How dare you? My team's worth more than that. My team's worth $3.2. I'll give you evidence. But I was offered $3.2, and I said no.
Yeah.
So which one do you think it is? Is the team for sale, or is he just trying to pump up the perceived value of his team?
I think it's the perceived value of the team. The first thing I thought of was like, was this something like the owners talked about? And like, was this like a coup d'etat to go like, no, I was offered $3.2 billion. And, you know, we're all worth more than what Forbes says or whatever else it is out there. I mean, I don't know. What's the point of putting this out there in general? That's where I guess
if you want to sell the team for more than $3.2 billion, that's one reason to put it out there.
The Carolina Panthers set the record, right?
$2.3.
$2.3 billion. So he got offered $1 billion more, $900 million more, basically. I don't know. I can't imagine that that's true. I feel like we would have heard names or somebody along connected to this situation. I feel like it is a little bit of maybe a propaganda to just prop up the franchise a little bit, but I have no idea what the deal is here.
And look, the bottom line is anything is worth whatever someone will pay for it if the seller will sell it. And it doesn't, like the Cowboys, they're worth $5.5 billion. Well, you know what? Jerry Jones is never going to sell that team for $5.5 billion. But the thing to keep in mind is this. As the franchise values go up and up and up, it is going to be harder and harder for the families that own these teams to be able to continue to own them because there's an estate tax obligation that kicks in when that equity is handed down. So you got to have enough extra cash to pay that. Because now you're going to sell part of the team. And some you could sell part of the team.
Yeah.
Some have had to sell all of the team to pay the estate taxes. But at some point, the value is going to be so high that there's not going to be enough human beings with enough money to own the teams, and they're going to have to figure out whether they drop the minimum percentage that's required. At some point, do they go to corporate ownership? I mean, this is down the road, but not all that far down the road because these franchise values keep going up and up and up and up.
Yeah, well, it's the NFL. It's kicking butt, and it's just a money-making machine at this point. And, I mean, again, with new stadiums, teams building new facilities, the TV packages, everything that goes along with it. I mean, the NFL franchises, of course, are king in this country. But, yeah, I thought this was I was a little curious to what your thoughts were in general. And I I lean towards we're propping it up for my own benefit of what I think the price of the team is and all NFL.
Because here's the thing. If you're out there with $3.2 billion and you want to buy a team, you don't quietly go to Jim Irsay and say, I want to buy your team for $3.2 billion. You hold a press conference and you say, I got $3.2 billion, and whoever wants to sell me their team, give me a call.
That's my point when I was saying I have a hard time feeling we wouldn't have heard a name from a Schefter, a Mortensen, somebody out there, right? Including you. Yeah, you're kind of in their class. Either way, but so I was just shocked. Usually you kind of hear little inklings or rumors about who might be associated with that type of offer.
All right, we wrap up with this. Marshawn Lynch out of football for now, but if he were commissioner of the NFL, you would maybe come out of retirement because his first order of business would be legalizing Doty. Is Doty the right pronunciation?
No.
What is it, Dodi?
I don't even know.
Doty? It's slang for marijuana.
Yeah, no, I mean.
Had you ever heard of Doty before?
I actually can't say I never heard of that
you're getting old.
No, is it? Is it what the young kids are saying?
I knew what Doty was.
I mean, I've heard reefer and things like that.
Reefer's like
that's like the stuff my dad would say to me. He'd be like, "Are you back there smoking reefer?" That's what he might say.
And the answer was yes.
I mean, yes, I am. You got something to do?
Can I have some?
I'm 30-something years old. Shut up. I'll do what I want.
Christopher, what's that smell?
What is that smell? Oh, it's the good stuff.
Did you run over a skunk with the truck?
It usually does. But I, of course, am in favor of this. Yes, I am. I mean, first off, I will always argue for the legalization of marijuana as long as alcohol is legal. When alcohol is killing people all over the world, drunk driving accidents, the #1 causer of heart disease in the world is alcohol. There's so many issues that are associated with health problems that go along with it. I'm not saying marijuana is the best for you, but as long as that's legal, then marijuana needs to be legal too, and especially in the NFL, because guys do get addicted to opioids, that we talked about so much. I know I had teammates that battled with that, and they certainly would have rathered, I wish I could smoke weed and do that to take the edge off instead of taking Vicodin or doing something like that. It's totally messing up my stomach, my system, the chemistry of my brain. All of those things are concerning, and I think the NFL is losing good players over the fact that they're so stringent on their testing of marijuana too. It needs to change, and I do wish America would legalize it completely.
Just remember, Illinois is not weed legal yet, so don't get in trouble before tonight. We want you to show up at the stadium tonight. That would make for an awkward pregame.
It would be.
Chris is not here.
We have to report that Chris is locked up.
All right.
He was smoking doobies in Chicago.
He was smoking reefer. We're done for today. We'll be back tomorrow, but check us out tonight for the pregame show. We can't wait for the start of the season, and we appreciate you sticking with us all off season long. We're going to be here. I mean, the best thing about doing this show during football season, we never have to scramble for things to talk about.
I mean, tomorrow we're going to be able to talk football.
It's going to be football, and it's going to be getting you ready for week 1. We'll be back tomorrow. Everybody have a great day. Enjoy the games, and we'll see you Friday.
See ya.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.